Hey, Niall here. Just wanted to say that something went screwy with my mic while we were recording this episode, so I might get a little bit peaky at points, I might be inaudible if I laugh too hard. I have hopefully fixed it by the time I'm recording this and by the time we record the Season 3 retrospective, but this is just a warning, and we'd also like to state that this episode contains spoilers for every season past Season 2. So if you're not caught up with the hotel, you probably should before listening, okay? Okay, thank you. Please continue.
Do the thing they do where they have the cameraman and he goes, okay, 3, 2, and then he does the one silently, and then you start. But
I've been recording for the past 10 seconds.
That's a great intro, I think, actually. I think use that.
Yeah, let's not, yeah.
So just
everybody,
imagine
we're doing another episode of We Like the Hotel, and we're gonna make it everyone's problem.
Everybody on the planet is required to listen to this. Okay.
Do you even know about the show? Well, you're about to.
You're about to? Let us explain. Let us explain our passions to you. Have you seen the freaking Russell Crowe tweet where he's like, 2 things. First, I'm not pretty, and I'm not your boy. Send me your address so I can visit you and explain my passions. Speaking of passions,
the Passion
Season
of the Christ?
2... Okay, I was going to try to segue... but we can talk about the Passion of the Christ if you want.
No, we're going to talk about Season 2, because that's what we came here to do, and I just listened to it, and I've been playing Picross for the past, 20 minutes, and I need to talk about this show, or I'm gonna explode.
Starting off strong, Burger Baby.
So... Now that we're done with Season 4, heading into Season 5, and we have confirmation the doorbell at the end of She's Always Been Here was the same doorbell in the intro to Burger Baby, that puts Burger Baby in a whole new context for me, and the rest of Season 2 in general. But I'll hit those points once we've reviewed the rest of the season, because a lot of it ties together with a nice little bow for me. And I want to be able to draw those comparisons after we've already addressed the individual episodes. But Burger fucking Baby.
A thing that I am wondering, and this is kind of strewn throughout Season 2, but is pretty evident starting with Burger Baby once you've come at it from the Season 4 finale, is that there are these little kind of hooks written into the episodes of, like they say... The manager says, the hotel sent me here, she'd, come from a dark place. She can't really figure out why she's here because it's not the usual sort of thing. And there are these little hooks that you can kind of hang a story on. How did I phrase it? Me and Jay were talking when we did our re-listen, and I should have taken notes. That would have been really smart. But I don't know. I'm getting to it. I don't how much of Season 4 was planned when Season 2 was being written, but Travis has said that he is kind of laying the tracks in front of the train as he goes when he writes, so I think it's possible that he was writing this and he didn't know every single thing he was going to do in Season 4, but he was like, I might loop back around here, so let me just write some little tantalizing vague statements that I could come back and use as anchors to tie this story together. It feels like that's what happened, and it works beautifully. I think coming back and re-listening to Season 2 after the Season 4 finale is super rewarding because you go oh shit, she said this, and that ties into this other thing that happened in Season 4. So I think Burger Baby's a really strong start for this season.
I'm the strapping young lass tied to the tracks, and Travis is about to hit me with the train.
So true. I've got my Snidely Whiplash mustache on, and I'm twirling it, and I'm cheering him on.
I'm gonna kill you!
The other thing with this episode that I really like is it's another one that hits a specific kind of horror that makes me go, and makes me genuinely afraid. I'm terrified of being eaten alive. This is why zombies freak me out so bad. When I was a kid, I had genuine nightmares every week about a zombie apocalypse. Because just the idea of being pulled apart and eaten while you're still alive is so... and the way they have the little lip smack noises, I think, is it in this one or is it Mrs. I think it's in Mrs. Bones they have the lip smack noises.
No, they're in both.
Oh, they're in both. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So
we're gonna bring that up later.
This one I had to zone out a little bit when the actual eating was going on. I had to kind of stare at the wall and be okay, I'm gonna think about something else for a minute. But then when we get to the hotel outro, and she's like, "We regret any inconvenience that may have been caused by being chewed into hundreds of wads of meat by the burger baby," I burst out laughing. It was like the perfect tension cutter, and now I can listen to this episode just fine because I'm like, that's pretty inconvenient.
Wow, real bummer.
Total bummer. Ugh. I hate it when I'm chewed into hundreds of wads of meat by the burger baby. Like, eat some of them.
True.
Come on.
So true. Like,
just making a mess over here.
Burger Baby's a really strong episode, horror-wise, for that exact reason. It's so visceral, and, like, I think this is one of the episodes where, like, Kelly is at her very best, like, VA-wise, because I feel that shit in my bones. Like, it rattles me to my core. And the wet mouth noises really make it for me, because it feels that more real. It's, oh, what an episode. Evil. What a stinking episode.
Evil ASMR.
Evil ASMR. Also, it's really funny that it's like a basement apartment, because that's where I live when I'm up in Michigan with my family. Because I'm like, the only way I can envision the Airbnb from that episode is as my apartment in Michigan.
I like as well, there was a thing that this one hit on. Yeah, again with the way the manager talks in this episode, and her awareness of something beyond the episode, if that makes sense. She has this, like, she's aware of thoughts and feelings surrounding the guest, which I think is very intriguing compared to a lot of what happens in the season. And also you get the hints of her being aware that no, she isn't a baby. She isn't a burger baby usually. This isn't her usual form. And then as she realizes this, and this is a piece of editing I think is very good, you get the soundtrack bringing in the sounds of the baby and then the bell, almost as if the hotel is playing her a little track to be like, no, back in the room, come on. You're a baby right now.
Snapping your fingers. Subliminal. Yeah. Subliminal hypnosis ASMR to become baby.
Binaural beats to chew a guy to.
It does have almost a feeling of, like, if you're picturing the hotel, snapping your fingers at the manager being like, get back into it. It's like a director getting at an actor who's breaking in the scene.
Yeah.
It's
me telling us to get back on topic.
Yeah. There's also, so the desk bell in season 1 dings at the end of the episode. Once the guest has died, or once we're done watching whatever happens, the desk bell dings. But it dings in the middle of season 2.
Yeah, that's actually, I had a point about that I was going to bring up once we got to Mr. Heavybones. Or at least Mrs. Bones. No, don't you dare wait. I do think it's important to be brought up right now, because I want to tie all this together in a neat little bow, like I said, because I'm kind of a freak, and I have a lot of thoughts on season 2. But the desk bell dinging in the middle here, I do believe, like, there's a pattern to it, and I think that pattern has some significance.
Do you want to wait until the later episodes to talk about the significance?
A little bit.
Okay, we'll tuck that little chestnut away. We'll sit on it. We'll take a minute.
Squirrel hiding it for winter.
Like a little squirrel hiding it for winter. I think what's also very fun, because this kind of sets up, this is how season 2 is going to be. Like, this is, okay, here's season 2. Here's what it looks like. We're going to have the hotel read us about an Airbnb listing. We're going to have one of the staff members as this creature. They're going to see a guest. A bell's going to ding. They're going to kill the guest. They're kind of not going to be totally clear on why they're here or what they're doing. And they're going to go back, and we're going to have the hotel play us out. So it's a good, it's like setting that up. It's really solid, like we've been saying. I opened this with a point. Oh yeah, I like that, something that didn't actually click for me at first, it took a little while, I think something Jay said made it click for me, is that this is still the hotel. Even though the rooms are like, this is part of an apartment. This is somebody's house that they're renting out. This is normally like a place where people live. It becomes the hotel. It's like the hotel is layered over it. It becomes this new thing where you might have walked in that door a week ago and it would have been a normal apartment. Now when you walk in that door, it's the hotel. And that didn't click for me at first. But like she says, this was your hotel for the night.
She's making herself cozy.
She's making herself cozy.
The
It puts me in mind.
Just like the second the owners like leave and put up the Airbnb listing, she's like, "Ooh, don't mind if I do."
I'll just sneak right in here. It puts me in mind of that diagram. Have you seen that diagram of the bird's nest with the fake entrance the snake is going in? What?
What?
And it's that, except when you go in the fake entrance, it kills you.
It is, though. I think, like, I remember when we were talking about it, I was saying about how it's almost like it's layered over the top of it, of the reality version of the hotel or the Airbnb or whatever she decides to be. That this is a presence that is almost, like, I think I drew the analogy of, like, infecting, but it's not quite that. It's just, these two things now exist in the same spot. The horror thing now exists where the normal house used to be. Good fucking luck.
Good luck. Oh god, it's like, you know how you have cats, and...
You know how it is when you're eating spaghetti.
You know how it is when you're eating spaghetti. Okay, so you know how cats, like, if you let them outside, for example, Jay, your specific cat, Parsley, likes to go out into the garden, but she doesn't like to go out when it's raining, so you'll open the door to let her out into the garden, and it's raining, and she'll go, "No, I don't want to be let into the raining garden, I want to be let into the sunny garden. Open the door to the sunny garden, please. You're doing it wrong." She's the raining garden, and people keep walking into that one instead of the sunny garden.
Same door, same destination, different. Like,
close the door and reopen it again. It's just a normal Airbnb now.
like, physically, that's the same place. And yeah, now there's a burger baby in it.
Now there's a creature, and it's creaching.
The creature is creeching it up in there.
The little beast. That's just what babies do.
Yeah.
From what I know about babies, this is just what babies do, I think.
You know how it is when you're a baby.
You know how it is when you're a baby.
I was gonna say, I got so distracted talking about babies that I forgot to mention. What I find very fun about this season is that we're not, like, overtly told the hotel is doing the intro and the outro. I had to find that out for myself, like, mid-season, when I checked the transcripts.
Yeah, I thought it was the manager for a solid until return.
Return breaks, people.
I'm not good at distinguishing voices unless they're wildly different.
You misogynist.
Thank you. And sometimes the same voice actors voice, like, guests, you know. If every time Mark Whitten said something as a guest, I was like, "What? Is that the lobby boy?" I would be a fool in man's clothes. Could have been Kelly Nienaltowski. She could have been doing a different voice.
Could have been activating slay mode.
Now. She just activated her slay mode. Don't even worry about it. No, that's a completely different person.
These are two completely different women.
For $1, name a woman. Hotel.
Amelia Earhart. All those coconut crabs with a burger baby.
Oh my god! Jesus Christ!
You're so welcome.
What else do we have to say about the burger baby?
I do have one last thing to say about the burger baby, my beloved.
Say it.
Actually, I might have a few. I wrote down a lot of notes.
Yeah, you took a lot of notes in here.
Another good thing about Burger Baby being the intro to season 2 is, like, the mesh sieve you can feel the manager's brain being put through. What with the whole desk bell thing, the ambient baby crying. She is in such a strange mental place right here, because her existence is dictated by the hotel, but she's still, like, trying to persist as the individual, and that'll come up later. But anyways, in my mind's eye, the Burger Baby is that one picture of a bunch of ground deli meats, shaped into the form of a baby with a, like, thinly sliced prosciutto diaper that says, "Consult the meat baby."
Oh god.
I think about clown meat.
Clown meat!
I like how you said that like truck freak.
Crazy ass. Clown meat.
Lazy ass. Laid back. The fighter. Clown meat could easily be Lobby Boy on the 4-panel. Could easily be Clown meat.
Room freak.
Crazy ass. Okay, Cracker Man.
You just say this in circles for hours.
The episode is like 3 hours long, but it's just us saying room freak, crazy ass, laid back, the fighter.
I'd pay for that. I'd pay to listen to that.
I'll have to put it on screen.
Cracker Man.
Cracker Man!
So the first thing I noticed, because now that I'm thinking about it as a thing, I'm seeing it everywhere, is that, again, we have that thing where the manager knows stuff that's happening, and the lobby boy has to guess it. The manager knows, as Burger Baby, that the guy coming in doesn't unpack, that he's full of stress and anxiety and worry, and that he's just looking at his phone. And the lobby boy, as Crackerman, he's stuck outside. He has to walk around and look in the windows to get the layout. He doesn't know for sure what the girls are feeling. He's like, there might be more guests coming, and he doesn't know for sure. Like, there is that thing again where this is the hotel. So even though it doesn't look like the hotel, and even though it's an Airbnb, it's the hotel. So the manager knows everything happening in the hotel, and the lobby boy doesn't have that omniscience. A little bit of validation feels very nice.
Lobby Boy
Yeah,
is like
the
a
same
creature of
rules.
instinct.
Yeah.
Themes and motifs and such.
This is exactly what it feels like to roll out of bed as a 24-year-old. Also, everything hurts.
Every bone cracks, everything hurts. Dear God.
Okay, Grandpa.
Thank you. Lobby Boy's mad. He's like angry.
Yeah,
which
it's
is a new one.
interesting to hear him experiencing genuine, like, emotion beyond confusion and fear.
And like gentle disgust is the other thing that we heard
Mild
him feel.
discomfort.
Yeah, I mean, like
1 to 2 doesn't hurt too much.
bone shaking discomfort, but just because that's who he is as a person. That's like his low level general feeling is just, I don't want to be here.
His
You know how he
baseline is
sounds like Droopy Dog?
Chihuahua-esque misery.
Yeah, he feels just this kind of constant discomfort and unwillingness to be kind of anywhere. This is going through season 1 and season 4 more than season 2, but like he kind of doesn't like still being in the closet. He kind of talks about like, oh, I wonder when they're gonna let me out of the supply closet. Wah. And then he's like, oh no, they're gonna pull me out of the supply closet. Wah.
He doesn't want to be anywhere.
He doesn't want to be anywhere.
He wants the blissful nothing of no longer existing.
He doesn't like that dark place either.
He doesn't like that dark place
At least he exists in there, by virtue of conscious thought.
But here he wants to be in the house. He wants something. Something here where he says, I'm hiding in the bushes from them. They should be hiding from me. They should be running from me. It makes me think of we found the hotel when the guest is running away from him, but he's like, no, don't, please stop running away from me. I need to get you in a room.
I'm trying to do my job here.
Trying to do my job here. This is like a reversal of what he usually is. He's stuck outside the hotel. He wants to get in there. He has desire to harm the guests more than just, I don't want to say passively through his rooms, but I mean, he builds the rooms and they kill people, but he's not doing it hands-on.
He does his job.
Yeah.
And his job tonight is to kill the fuck out of these girls.
Yeah.
He's so very good at it.
He's very good at it. He's good at his job. Good for him.
Whatever his job is, he's excelled in his field.
Employee of the month.
It feels so personal, his anger in this one as well. Like, I think it does a lot for building up some of the variance and emotion we see with him in later seasons, and that we do have this sting of, like, why did they get that? Why did they get to be in the house and to enjoy themselves? That jealousy almost, which I think is really intriguing to build into his, in air quotes, motive, because he doesn't need one, this is his job, he just kills, but
yeah, you're just getting real into character as Cracker Man.
Yeah, he's a method actor.
He's a real method actor. He's great at it, though.
Sorry, I think, Jay, we may have cut you off in the middle of your thought, as usual.
It happens, I'm sorry.
I can't remember if there may have not been anything more to it. It was just sort of an observation that I think, especially leading into, like, you never see it to this extent again, or not, like, this heavy, because he's, like, enraged in this one, but you do see hints of this almost, like, indignant disgust at the guests and the fact that they get certain things, or, like, just a little bit more anger in like, coming through in small amounts in later seasons, and I think this episode does a lot for building that aspect of him.
Yeah.
Do you think, since the timeline is what it is, do you think that Cracker Man was sort of planting the seed for his character development later on?
Like, kind of planting the seed for the fight with the owner?
Sort of.
Oh,
My brain is very,
like...
very fuzzy right now. That lavender milkshake screwed me up.
Yeah. No, you go.
Okay. It does feel like, yeah, there is like a setup, a seed being planted here for further like development arcs with the lobby boy that we do see through 3 and 4, season 3 and 4. So I definitely do feel that, like, yeah, bang on the money. This is the episode that sets up some stuff to do with him. Just giving him a little extra wiggle room, I think, with his character, developing a little bit past what the lobby boys
Home of the lobby boys.
deal was.
I mean, in 412, during the fight with the owner does, like, drag him through time and space to, like, witness himself as Cracker Man, cracking those girlies.
Cracker Man.
Like, look at what you can do when you're not cowering like a fucking squirrel.
Look at what you can do. Look at what you could be. I still love, and we'll probably get to this in the season 4 retrospective, but I have to say it now. I do love that at least part of the owner's motivation in fighting the lobby boy is like, do something. Do something.
Yeah, you're good at things. You're good at things.
You're good at things. Stop cowering in the corner like you don't know what you're doing, and do something because you can. You're not a little sad piece of nothing. You have power. Wet rat man. You can do stuff. Come on, champ.
Patting him on the shoulder.
Pat him on the shoulder and it just falls off.
They're gonna go play baseball.
They're gonna go play catch in the backyard and he's gonna give him an inspiring speech. He's a dad. I love Mark Whitten's delivery on this. I feel like we talk a lot about the writing. I would like to say the actors bringing them to life are also
season
incredible.
2 is great, like VA wise.
Yeah,
these are
these
are only like half the same characters they've been voicing, but they still put so much like raw emotion into it. But you can still hear like the manager, the lobby boy, the owner underneath all of it.
Yeah,
even if they're like in a very strange state, identity-wise.
And I do really I think a lot of the lobby boy would be very easy to read in the same kind of tone, in the same kind of sad, scared, anxious, not wanting to interact with anything. All of this is bothering him kind of way, and it would be very one note, but Mark Whitten does bring this, like, there's an edge to him sometimes. There's an edge of an annoyance, or grief, or like, you know, he gets annoyed at the guests. He has opinions about stuff, and you can hear it hiding behind this wall of kind of anxious. I want to say it's almost like protective to just shy away from everything all the time. But he does have these opinions and emotions like underneath the surface, and you can hear them kind of breaking through. I really appreciate the kind of dimension that's given to the character.
Yeah.
And then there's a really interesting line towards the end. We lock eyes, and I can't tell which of us must feel the most sadness. Like, it's interesting that the emotion he goes for there is sadness between him and the girl he's just, like, cracked all the bones of and killed all the friends of.
Bones.
Sorry about your bones. Like, he's sad because he's got no one else to kill.
He's really bummed by this.
He's really bummed out. There's no one left to twist. And she's just lost everything. Which one of us is sadder?
Well, he has to do his job, so...
There's just no telling. We just
don't know.
And there's the parallel here with that sadness at the end, where it is almost framed that, like, this killing was his respite from the pain that he popped into existence in this version of the hotel with, which draws a parallel to the fact that the manager is also driven in Burger Baby by her own pain. And I think that sets up something very interesting with this season, that shit is happening to the staff as well.
Further thoughts on Cracker... I was about to say Cracker Baby.
Baby!
Further thoughts on Cracker Man. Do we want to talk about the urban legend aspect of Cracker Man before we move on? Because you made a note about it. I'm just now going back and reading your notes. It has to do with
the full season, so I think I'm going to save that until after.
Okay.
I do have a thing that I was curious to ask you about, both of you, about this episode. So if you have a visual, it's just something I'm curious about, of what you think of when you think of Cracker Man. Does he look human in your head? What do you vision as him?
Vaguely.
There's a really specific... Oh, this is killing me because I've just seen it. There's like a specific image that I have in my head. I think it gets reused a lot as a kind of general, oh, there was a creepy man. and it's
There
like a
was a
trail
sewer
cam.
man.
There was a sewer man.
Oh,
It's like it looks like trail cam, and it's this guy kind of hunched over, and his eyes are just like dark holes, and he is probably like
Is it like the rake?
It's yes.
Or is it like the other one with like the sway back like a cow?
That's a lot of words.
Hold on.
I don't know.
I'm gonna scribble it in MS Paint. I need to know.
I don't know what the rake is.
This is gonna be with a mouse because I'm not using my tablet for this.
And you're going to have to put it up on screen when you're done.
Oh, of course I am.
Yeah.
What do I look like? Okay.
She's my burger
Okay,
baby.
don't laugh at it. Don't you dare.
I promise nothing.
It's NPC text.
He's standing.
Okay.
I know which one it is.
I think the rake.
Okay. Glad to know my hard work wasn't for nothing.
Yeah, long, lanky, pale, hairless thing, big hands.
Pale, hairless thing, big hands. Really just the saddest face you've ever seen on a beast.
I just think of Izzy's.
What's your mental image of him, Jay?
So, like, mine's really horribly fucked up because of the mentions of cracking and twisting. I do very much envision him as looking like he was supposed to once be human-shaped, and now he is a writhing mass of twisted bone and flesh.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, like,
I'm
he
a
doesn't
big
move like a
fan.
person.
Oh, he's fucking coming, and it's like a sea pig.
Yeah.
It's like some kind of like some kind of olm.
Ooh, like a cave thing.
Yeah.
And like movement-wise, there's like I remember being very frightened by something years and years and years ago when I was first on the internet, which was the music video, I believe, to an Aphex Twin track, which I think was Rubber Johnny.
Oh my god!
I think about that kind of motion and distortion with this, and the reason I bring it up is because this season in general makes me very curious to wonder what people's interpretations of these beasts are, because they are very abstract and disturbing.
I don't see many people draw them, and I know I could remedy this myself, but also, maybe.
Looking so sweetly at the fandom. Consider.
I guess also the jangly man from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, the movie.
Ooh.
Oh.
I have not seen that movie. So
Heavy Bones.
Heavy Bones.
So Mr. Heavy Bones took me a long time, as in I think 3 days ago, to realize he's a tree.
Yeah, it took me up until April 13th.
Oh, the anniversary.
Yeah, because someone put out like a piece of fan art, I think.
And
And I was like, wait, is that like tree thing supposed to be Mr. Heavy Bones? And then I listened to the episode again and I realized.
yes, he is a tree.
No fucking way. He's a tree.
We only get one owner episode in season 2, which as technically
You could-
well, it's
You could call Echo Box an owner episode because he starts the narration, but that's very loose.
but
Back to Mr. Heavy Bones.
that does not satisfy me.
It wouldn't. It never would.
wouldn't. Nothing's ever enough. I realize it may be actually kind of hard to read, but the shirt I drew on the sprite does say Owner Fan Club President. If somehow you haven't picked up from
He kind of likes
anything
the
about
owner.
me, I kind of like the owner. So he's a tree monster, which is very fun because, Jay, would you like to tell us all why it's very fun?
Oh, are you referencing the fact that when I realized this, I went, oh, this is literally actually a nightmare that plagued me for years as a child?
Yes.
Yes, so let me weave a story. When I was probably 6 or 7, I used to have recurring nightmares about the same thing, incredibly vivid ones that felt exceptionally real. At the time, I lived by a very big old oak, and I would dream that I would go into the bathroom, see its branches, which were in real life about 6 inches away from the window in the bathroom, moving, and that it would sway gently, tap against it a little bit, maybe have a scrape, and then punch through there, grab me, and swing me around with the sort of realism that I could feel myself turning head over heel continuously, and I would dream that night after night and sometimes end up in the tree coiled in its branches. So when I realized after you guys were talking about him being a tree, I went, oh wow, this is much scarier now. This is my nightmare.
There was something I said, this one's interesting for the owner So we'll get to it when we get to the second set of episodes for the lobby boy and the manager, but like clearly the forms that they're taking and the way that they're acting, they have common threads. They say something. They maybe reveal something about the character. The owner is not inscrutable in this, but a little harder because there's not a second episode, so we can't track the common threads. And as far as Echo Box goes for tracking common threads, not a lot there.
Echo Box is Echo Box, buddy.
Echo Box is Echo Box. When I say not a lot there, I mean it's its own thing. Yeah. He has the line, "I am not normally a patient man, but here he is as like literally a tree, which moves on its own scale of time. Like the moon is moving across the sky faster than he is moving." And he's got that line about like something in me, not me, separate from me, wants to kill them. Yeah, something in me, not me, something separate needs to kill them. Which I think Jay said, yeah, that's the owl.
That's the owl nesting in him.
But this also goes back to season 3, when he's walking through the void. He says something like, I say goes back to, season 3 came afterwards, but he says like, I'm going to get there, there's going to be someone, and I'm going to kill them. Something in me says, I'm going to kill them. It's interesting that he keeps talking about something in him that wants to kill them. It's not necessarily him.
I think it just might be his ego.
It might be his ego.
I think it would be very fascinating if it was just his ego. He doesn't want to admit that something, like, it's part of his duty as, like, part of the hotel for the guest to end up dead. He's above that. He isn't.
The sense that, like, maybe he wants to keep his hands clean.
He is clean.
As much as you can.
He's
when
not
you work in a murder
he doesn't
hotel.
want to spend too much time preening afterwards.
He does start to get hands-on experience in season 4, but he is a bit more hands-off early on. But in this, like, he's not hands-off. He is, all of his arms are on.
He's the opposite of hands-off.
He's murdering.
He's killing.
And there's the thing that you brought up about the desk bells in the other 2 episodes, which happen in the middle. You said, like, they happen before the murdering starts, but the desk bell in this one is when the murder starts.
Yes, sir.
There's a sense in the other 2 episodes that the desk bell triggers that, because it's like the thing that is reminding the manager, you have to be the baby. It's the thing where
you have to be the baby.
You have to be the baby. The desk bell rings and the lobby boy jumps into action. But the owner doesn't need that. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's here to do. He's going for it.
Yeah. From the moment he's there, he's like, I know what I must do. I know what I'm doing. He doesn't go like, oh, like, what am I? Like, he does, of course, have the world building element of the what am I, where am I? But it isn't in the sense of, like, he's perturbed. He's just like, all right, I know what I have to do. I'm moving. It's going to take me a while, but I'm going to kill these people.
It's going to be a while, but I'm going to do it. On God!
He says, I wait and watch like I always do.
Yeah.
But he is going to get in there and he's going to kill them. Jay, you were starting to say something about single-mindedness.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. There's this theme with the owner sometimes of this, like, single-minded, I guess, determination, and it really shines in this episode that he's just like, I have a thing to do, I will do it. That's my mission. That's what I am here to do. And it's a very dutiful single-mindedness to his job. And I think it is something that, like, looking at themes with him later potentially isolates him a little bit from the goings-on around him and the staff and sets him as another in that he has got this, like, the only thing he is what he's doing. Like, in season 2, it's very much like you have these themes with the other 2 characters and he is just so single-mindedly like, I am here to kill, that's it. That I think is just very intriguing. Like, I can't quite put into words why. This is a thing with a lot of season 2. It is an interesting piece of horror that works in the way that makes me feel a great deal of things, and not all of them are easy to put into concise words. But there is something there, I think, in the difference between him and the others, that he is just like, one track, I'm doing this, there's nothing else going on, and then he's done. Like, he even settles at the end of the episode. He just goes back to where he was and stands there for a while, and then goes into the nothing.
Which is kind of different from how I think it works in the rest of the seasons, where he is like, yes, I need to audit, I'm here to audit. But he gets kind of distracted, I think, from that. He, like, the hotel talks about, like, yeah, he does his job, I cut him some slack, he starts worrying at other details, and then it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
So now here, he's just focused on doing his job, and he's not letting his mind run on to other details. Whereas the manager is usually the one who's, like, on task, on top of it, getting it done. But the reason that she's not like this, I think, in Burger Baby, where she's not just going to kill and eat and kill this guy. She has this moment of like, wait, I'm not supposed to be there. I'm not supposed to be doing this. I'm someone else. Is because the sense that she is the manager of this hotel is a really strong part of her character. It's what she is. So the fact that she is now something else, she's a horror in the hotel instead of the manager of the hotel, that's tripping her up.
She's something small and hungry, and this is her room.
Yeah. She's not built for this. So this is, yeah, it's just him.
Just him. Finally, this guy has a purpose.
Finally, this guy has a purpose. Oh, good for him. Oh.
He did a good job.
I like the Netflix password. I think that's a silly thing to pick up on in the episode, given everything else going on, but the Netflix password is funny.
It's a very
and
fun
I appreciate
one.
it.
It's part of the I think the way they construct mundanity in the descriptions of these places feels so real and so true to like staying in a place that I love the comedy element that has. And not in an overwhelming comedy sense, more just in a really pleasant way of like doing these episodes where you do have stuff like the Netflix password and the absurdity of that contrasted with like, oh, sorry for the inconvenience of the giant tree man outside smashing you into oblivion. It just works so well.
Yeah, and the eventually being crushed by Mr. Heavy Bones.
It'll take a while.
It'll take a while.
It's not gonna be comfortable. It's not gonna be pleasant.
No. Really add something on top of the... Like, it's a little bit of horror comedy with, we apologize for the inconvenience of your death, but then when you throw on the inconvenience of your slow, painful death, it kind of gets put into absurdity in a way that I really like.
That's the real inconvenience. Wasn't quick enough.
Wasn't quick enough.
Dude should have just ran the way he came. That tree couldn't move quick. Come on, buddy.
Also interesting that I'm looking at the transcript, and they don't have there is a wing flap sound effect at the end, but they don't have that in the transcript.
Those weren't wings.
Oh shit!
Those were leaves.
Those were leaves.
His leaves.
He's gotta make like a tree.
That's a leaf. I hate your dad humor.
Frozen figure.
No,
Dave
we're on
pointed out
Mrs.
something-
Bones.
Oh shit, did I just skip Mrs. Bones?
You
Sorry,
skipped Mrs. Bones! How could you?
Forgive me. I'm really excited about Frozen Figure, I'm sorry.
Frozen Figure has meat to it. Frozen Figure is a
Mrs. Bones-
meaty episode.
Mrs. Bones categorically does not have
She
meat.
does not have meat, sadly.
By definition.
By definition, no meat.
Here's a
Mrs.
question.
The skeleton appears!
Um,
Diagnosis skill issue.
Skill issue. What's really interesting about this episode, for me, is that the other ones have had, and we jump in kind of in media res. I'm not using that correctly. Where like they're already constructed and they're already in position and they're ready to go. But the manager like feels her body being constructed and then stripped away to bones. She doesn't like pop in like, I'm a thirsty skeleton. She like
I am.
she like has to feel first being created and then being reduced. And then she's in here.
Her reaction to it is kind of funny, though. She's just like, you can like feel her like slightly raising her eyebrows if she hadn't any like, I'm being torn apart. Damn, that sucks.
Being torn apart.
Bummer.
Bummer-oni.
Whoa.
Cowabummer.
Cowabummer. This is where I watched my parents die, Raphael.
The former tenant died here, manager.
Manager voice, cowabummer. And she has the line like, I wait for the guest because I'm expected to. Loyalty has value and I wish to please. And she can't remember who she's trying to please. She's remembering being the manager, but not enough to go, oh, but I shouldn't be this.
Yeah.
It's again
Right?
that thread of like, they know they're not supposed to be what they are, but they're not entirely sure what they are supposed to be. And by the time they remember or have that like, wait, I'm supposed to be in a hotel, either their job is done and they're being dragged back to the dark place, or she gets them back on task.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to remember the hotel.
Yeah, they're not allowed to. But the lobby boy and the owner in all like their respective episodes do vividly recollect that they work at the hotel and are able to identify the Airbnb as the hotel. But the manager gets that like moment of recognition like once at the start of Burger Baby and then at the end of Mrs. Bones. So,
Yeah.
because being the manager is so fundamental to her as a person, I'm wondering what the significance, if any, there is to the mind wipe she underwent to be placed into these roles. 'Cause you know she wouldn't be doing them otherwise.
Yeah. That's not her job.
That's not her job.
And we come back to she has this burning thirst and she has to take it from somebody else to satisfy it. But even that doesn't satisfy her. She has to kill to get rid of this aching hole in her, this want. And it doesn't work. Or it only worked for a second and then she's back to it. She's straight up Tantalus in here.
Literally Tantalus. We have the insatiable hunger in Burger Baby and the unquenchable thirst in Mrs. Bones. So she has this, thread of dire want and not being able to fulfill these, because if she could sate that hunger or quench that thirst, she wouldn't have any work to do. She cannot get a moment's rest.
Yeah.
There is always work to be done at the hotel.
Yeah. So there's this thing with the manager's episodes in that she knows what it is to be full. When she knows what it is to not be hungry, she knows what it is to not be thirsty. And that comes from when she's Burger Baby, she knows that she's starving, so she knows what that isn't, sort of thing. And in this one, that's very well illustrated by the fact she's put together and then pulled apart into bones. And I think that's very important for making her go, oh, I should be more whole than this. I am thirsty. I need to be filled, and thus motivating her. And I think it's very interesting that it seems like she needs to be given that to get her to do this. There's a little more resistance from her. Whereas the others, you pop them down and they're like, I have to kill. It's like, you gotta give her a reason.
Ooh.
And I like that thing of giving her the taste of what it is to be before being pulled apart in this episode. And I think it's very important to then her motivation to tracking this guy down and drinking all the liquid out of him like a Capri Sun.
Like a Capri Sun. She's dutiful to a fault, I think.
Yeah.
That's why she needs to get her defleshed. Because, I already said it. Otherwise, she wouldn't be a willing participant.
Yeah.
She has guests to check in. Why is she in this stupid Airbnb?
If they gave her flesh, she'd walk off.
If they gave her flesh, she'd walk off. She'd escape down the drain.
There is a little bit of that for the lobby boy too. That the example of the girls who are running around without the pain makes him angry that he's stuck with it as the Cracker Man.
Yeah.
It puts me in mind of He Dead from the Clipping album. There's the line about surely somebody must live without pain. That just keeps playing in my mind every time I think of Cracker Man.
Yeah, those little motivations in this season, they're very interesting.
The owner just wants to kill people.
He's just here to do his job.
He's here to do his job.
He's
got a, I guess you could say, hey,
go on.
Something about a wood chip on his shoulder. I'm still working on it.
It's okay, buddy. Take your time.
Somebody put this together for me.
He's got a chipmunk on his shoulder.
There it is!
Do those things climb trees? They do, right?
I hope they do.
I hope they do. Not here, he doesn't.
In that specific incarnation of the hotel, chipmunks do not climb trees.
Or else.
Okay.
That's what was inside him that wanted to kill.
Are we still on Mrs. Bones?
There's a chipmunk in him piloting him like a fucking mech suit.
I think we're still on Mrs. Bones, guys.
We're still on Mrs. Bones, but listen. Okay, for the love of God. Okay, you said in your notes, Mrs. Bones is where we get the first little echoey voice, the hint of something afoot with the narrator. I just read that verbatim.
Yes, sir. Thank you for reading my notes for me. But yeah, that is where we get the first, hint of anything up being with the narrator of the intro-outro, being the hotel. Because in the first 3 episodes, this is just this could be some nebulous new character that has yet to be introduced, or it could just be someone general, someone who's just here to read the listings and won't have future relevance. That's funny. Now we know something is up. Now we know there's something going on, and it only gets worse.
Worse depending on who you ask.
Worse depending on who you ask.
Great.
It's better for me, just personally, because I have taste.
Yeah, and class.
In class.
We get the voice echoing, we get her going, I never get a moment's rest, too much work to do at the hotel. And she's like, I work at the hotel. Where am I?
And there's
then
the distorted music in the background that's
yes.
going all wacko as she regains her former identity, and then she has to be snuffed out like a light before
So
she
to speak.
fucks up a little bit too much, so to speak.
We get the mouth smack noises in here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes him feel
Another
more raw.
Oh yeah. This episode makes me thirsty.
This episode made me get a bottle of Fiji water out of my fridge. I was gonna say too, she doesn't have senses in this episode, but she's still able to perceive the guest, which is really fascinating, I think. Even if it's just through vibration or whatever. I want to imagine this is by virtue of her power as the manager, because she's still within the hotel. This is still her range. So logically, she'd still be able to quote unquote see the guy.
She can see that he's coming back from the gym, that he's sweaty. She can see that about him. I wonder if
she doesn't need to see that. She just she could have assumed just about anything, but she's citing specific details of this man's life. He was at the gym. He took the stairs. She just knows shit, and I find that endlessly fascinating. I love that about her.
Do we have further thoughts on Mrs. Bones?
Human jerky was a very funny line.
Human jerky was a very funny line.
I liked that. Oh. And this episode, she did recall that someone was supposed to be there with her.
Yes! She notices...
Lobert, baby!
Lobert's not there. Where's Lobert?
Oh,
We'll find out.
Mrs. Bones and Frozen Figure took place at the same time. He was off killing.
Here I go killing again.
You know how it is.
You know how it is when you're eating spaghetti.
You know how it is when you're frozen in the woods. Frozen Figure!
Jay pointed out something really interesting about the intro to this one.
Oh, yeah. So, there is a specific way that motion is described in this specific intro part of the episode, and the specific wording this slips my mind. I'm not good at remembering things, but the way the lobby boy is pulled along, he can't move, but he is moving along through the grass until he can see the farmhouse. Immediately put me in mind of Sam Raimi's camera in Evil Dead, the way it will sweep through the woods and come up to see the cabin, which I believe was the thing I brought up, where I'd because to me this is how if this episode were visual, it would start with that, and the lobby boy is that voyeur shot of going through the grass and seeing where he's less of a physical moving thing and just that entity sweeping, which I think is very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Frozen Figure is a very interdasting episode in general. We do get some very lovely scenery courtesy of Lobber, but there's a lot about Frozen Figure that really captures my imagination that doesn't appear in the other season 2 episodes. Namely, besides the fact that the lobby boy isn't alone in his endeavors in Frozen Figure, there are a bunch of other Frozen Figures surrounding him, all collaborating to gank this one family. But what else is interesting to me is that there is something inside the hotel, inside the cabin, that the family is trying to escape from, that leads them into the clutches of the Frozen Figures. And we never see that thing. We never get, a glimpse of it or a description of, what it is or what it does. One of them's bleeding, but that's all we know. That wound could have been inflicted in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, whatever it is that drives them out, we don't know. We're not shown or told, and it's also, I don't want to say not important, but it's not what the episode's about, at least. What's also interesting is that he doesn't know who the other figures are. There's not he doesn't say we. He doesn't say us. Well, he does. Okay. But there's not the sense that that he's with them so much. It's not so much of a communal, we're all gonna do this together, gang. It's more well, I'm in a group and we're moving towards the house. I don't know what they are. It's not until he gets closer to the house and to the lights of the house that he's able to see them. And even then, it's he doesn't really recognize them.
Yeah.
It does not feel like he's working in tandem with them. It feels like they're all doing this together, but it's not, intentional.
It's like an
It's not like
autonomous
Hive
foosball
Mind.
machine.
It's like an autonomous foosball machine.
I was gonna say about the creature beast inside the cabin. We get from the hotel in the intro, no matter what you hear or see in the house, do not go outside after dark. So that was intentional. That was mentioned. That was on the listing. And something in there, whatever was in there, was so terrible. They had to actively defy that and like waddle right into Laubert's clutches. It was a joint effort. And I wonder what the rest of the Frozen figures even are.
They put me in mind of the I mean, for one, they have kind of the, oh shoot, what are they called from Doctor Who?
Weeping Angels?
The Weeping Angels.
Yes,
yeah.
the angel statues that they can, like, clearly they can only move when they're not being looked at, because, or they choose to only move when they're not being looked at, who's to say? But when the family looks at them, they don't move, and as soon as the family look away or blink or something, then they move up. So there's that. There's a little bit of, like, found footage alien movies sort of in there. There's one in particular I can't recall the name of, but a lot of people in the Twitter circles I've been following lately have been bringing it up as like having a really good jump scare in it, and it's maybe called First Encounters or something along those lines. The alien in that I think looks kind of similar to how they're described.
When I picture the Frozen figures, I picture the last panel of the Enigma of Amigara Fault.
That's also not a bad Cracker Man.
That would not be a bad Cracker Man at all. Oh, he's serving. Lobby Boy has a preferred look, and it's very distorted. Whatever it was.
They also, I mean, they're not eating them. It's kind of unclear why they want to kill them, but they do.
They just do it. They just circle in. They surround them, and then
Go
they're
on
just like
instinct, yeah.
ganked. It's a group effort. It's like pack hunting, but with zero of the communication coordination that pack hunting would involve. So my thought is that the other Frozen figures they're all like other lobby boys, but unaware, each of them unaware that the others are like also them. 'Cause we all listen to season 3.
We all listened to season 3. We all listened to. Did we all listen to? No, the ship hasn't come out publicly. Okay. But there's a recurring theme of like multiple lobby boys.
There are so many of them. Oh, they're everywhere.
There are so many of them, and they're everywhere. I did get the sense more that this is like, maybe they do normally communicate to each other, but he's just taken one over, and he's kind of along for the ride.
So this stuff would have happened whether or not the Airbnb was the hotel.
I guess, yeah. I mean, maybe this would have happened.
These ones are just bad.
This one's just bad. But this could have happened whether or not the lobby boy was one of the figures, I guess is more what I mean. Because he's not the goblins in the hotel.
Goblins.
There are creatures that are separate from the staff. They creech. So it feels more like he's taken over one of them. Like if he were the white thing or one of the things that Harold Pike brought or the things in the room with Judy Blashy.
I was hoping you were going to bring that up.
Just a lot of thingies in there.
There's a lot of thingies in there. Ooh, watch your step.
They're hanging out. Watch out.
I mean, it's entirely possible that those are also incarnations of the lobby boy. I'll shut up.
Could also just be lobby boys.
They don't have like a brain link. They can't see in each other's heads.
I like the stretching noises a lot because they leave a lot to the imagination.
And like the grinding of concrete. I just imagine these like jank-ass humanoid figures encased in like a layer of ice being like slingshotted through the woods by some unseen force, like those carnival rides.
Oh god, that is actually thinking about them moving without locomoting their body is actually more frightening than the idea I had in my head of it being a I unfortunately forget the SCP's number title, but Peanut, who also works like the Walking Ages. Yeah. Well, there we go. But yeah, the idea of like turning and then something is there or closer to you and you can't ever see it moving, much also like Watson does in that one Sherlock Holmes game. Anyway.
Funny parallel to Toronto when we just referenced SCP-173.
Which Sherlock Holmes game?
Breaknecks are the chiropractor.
Come on down, you know I got you.
There's a Sherlock Holmes game, and I forget which video game it is, but they did not program Watson's walking animation. He doesn't have any. So instead, every time you look away from him, he moves closer to you.
Oh my god. That's a horror. That's a horror game.
That's a horror game. Watson
really
is
funny.
trying to kill you.
But thinking about that movement, that like figure that is Frozen sliding, is such a like nightmarish visual actually, that I think that's more scary than not seeing the move. That puts an image in my mind that makes me go, ugh, that's not right. You're not meant to move like that.
It's like said in the episode, give me a minute.
I like how it says dark wraiths, maybe. Like, it doesn't really matter.
There are
Maybe,
dark
maybe.
wraiths.
If you
I
even
was
care.
mistaken, by the by. There was no
Oh.
line about what I was going to mention, but
Ah.
the movement was described as slithering.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, kind of like the raptors in Jurassic Park in the one scene. In
My
the tall grass.
loves.
Oh, where they're like slinking through.
Don't go in the tall fucking grass.
I do actually mostly picture them kind of raptor-like. Like if humans had been shaped into raptors,
That's
that's,
really
what the
fun.
frozen
That's
figures
really,
are
really
in my
fun.
brain.
In my mind,
Ooh.
they're just like, you know that like Scooby-Doo screenshot with like the caveman encased in ice? That,
Boy, am I glad
God,
that...
he's
That
frozen in
frightening.
there. We're out here.
And then
And
he's
I'm
the
the
sheriff.
that creepy and scary.
But what I want to know is, where's the caveman?
Where's the lobby boy?
What I want to know is, where's the lobby boy? Oh,
Alright.
just now remembering. At the end of season 1, when we get the owner doing his whole, wait, no, I don't want to be replaced. No, I want to stay. No. No. I had this thing happen to me. I tend to like characters that are not well loved by the narrative and get shunted off and don't show up again after a certain point, even though it would have been really interesting to bring them back and work with recent developments in the text. Oh well, never see them again, not like they were any good. Anyway, so that happened and I was like, oh my god, it happened again. I'm never going to get him again. They're going to get a new voice actor. They're going to completely replace him. It's going to be a different character. I was like catastrophizing. That's probably how you say that word. I remember like when like just before I started listening to season 2 and I'm moaning and complaining about this, and then I go, oh, I just glanced ahead at like the season 4 runtimes and those episodes get long. And Niall's like, you're not even gonna notice it, and C's like, oh yeah, it's just more husband time. And I go, maybe for you they replaced my fucking husband. I'm
Did you
really
think
glad
either
he
of
came
us
back.
would husband up the lobby boy? Did you really think that?
Maybe there's a new husband. Maybe whoever they replaced the owner with is your husband. Not your husband, but C's. I don't know. But anyway, my point is, yay, they didn't get rid of him.
You like that guy.
I like that guy.
I was also going to mention,
Go ahead.
Mrs. Bones is the first time we get a hint of anything weird being up with the intro-outro.
Yes.
Frozen Figure gets a little wild with that, with Lobby Boy's voice too, getting like warped and distorted as he's like pulled back into the endless nothing, which happens again in season 3 when he's also in the void. But we also get the hotel doing her like outro spiel and Lobby Boy and Frozen Figures being overlaid onto each other. Very, very, very fun. Because that's A, confirmation that these are still the characters we know, just in different roles. And B, I think she's fun.
And we get the lobby boy as well when he does his whole, okay, now I'm taken away to the dark place again. He says, like, I'm jerked away violently and stuffed into that empty space. I don't like that dark place. Filled with nothing, and fear. I can see the hotel. Like, that's, like, layered over what he's saying, which is...
He just does that
very
sometimes.
Does that, I guess.
It happens in season 2, it happens in season 3, it's happened in some point at season 4, if I do recall correctly. It was probably in 412. But, you know, I just think it's interesting that Lobert can do these things.
He's got a connection to the hotel that isn't immediately apparent, but is there.
Significant.
It's like what I think Travis said in one of the We Made the Hotels. He said, like, the lobby boy is one of the more powerful characters, even though he's in the lowest in the, like, chain of command, but he's got the control over the immediate physical space, much like the workers at a business they have the most power over the the way the business takes shape, even though they don't have the authority.
The lobby boys are unionizing.
The lobby boys should unionize. You can only kill so many of them.
Lobby boys of the hotel unite. We have nothing to lose but our pillbox hats. I don't think he'd want to lose those little hats, though.
No, I think they like the hats.
I think they like the little hat.
The staff should unionize.
Staff should unionize. They don't even have dental.
They don't even have dental.
You see, and the result of that was shown very clearly in Robert Watson. I think the manager could really use a good orthodontist. Anyway.
You think she's got time for that? She has to run the hotel. There's always work to be done at the hotel.
Maybe if I took a hammer to her face.
Well.
I think she could reconsider. It's a very low chance.
Echo box.
Echo box! Echo box! Echo box! Oh, that's an episode for Sherzies. I mean, it might be my bias showing, but Echo Box has my favorite intro of just about any episode this season. The implications of this, like, concrete box with, like, nothing inside. Not even a distinguishable light source, but it's still lit in there. Just completely bare. This ambiguous space of death that the staff is just plopped into unceremoniously.
The timeout cube. That's where she keeps them.
They were naughty. They were naughty.
And all previous occupants have... All previous occupants have died here in every imaginable way, though this could possibly be the first time anyone has ever been inside this particular space. Everything that could happen in here has happened in here. Everybody's died in here in every possible way. But also, it's the first time you've been in here, I think.
This one's new.
This one's new.
There isn't even a mat to put a key under, is the funny thing. There's nothing
Not
in there.
even a mat.
But the key is under the mat.
The key is still under the mat if you want it in. You wanted to join the party.
And the owner, doing his whole spiel, and he keeps starting over. He keeps, they keep hitting F5 on him. And that happens on all of them. They have this refresh, reset to... The lights are on. I don't remember being summoned here. The desk bell ringing in reverse. This is a whole little clusterfuck hellscape of character
with
in
the
here.
owner in season 2. The desk bell indicates his work being over. The desk bell being reversed to restart his whole monologue, possibly indicative of having to restart. Thank you. That's my thesis.
Yeah, beginning again, and he just keeps beginning and beginning and beginning.
Oh my god, bring all your things and we will build a pyre.
Oh my god, beginning again?
Oh my god, we shall begin again. Like in Pyre by Sun Lux. I'm still gonna put this the caption.
And the manager and the lobby boy coming in and doing the same intro. The lights are on. I don't remember being summoned here. The kind of it's something that the hotel says in return, that they're all from the same mold but distinct from each other. Or that's not the exact phrasing, but that is the sentiment there, that they're all her creations. She built them presumably from the same kind of cloth, but they're just shaped a little different from each other. But they are all the same thing.
Oh, I did say something about this in my notes.
What's your notes say?
Okay, so in 4.1, the manager says something about being distinct from the void only by virtue of her own consciousness, her own conscious thought, something along those lines. And in Echo Box, they're all repeating the same lines until the final reverse desk bell plays, and they all recognize each other, and that's when they start becoming themselves again. They're only distinct as individuals if they believe themselves to be individuals separate from each other. That's my thoughts on the matter.
I also do like that when they see each other, the owner says it's them, but the manager and the lobby boy say it's him and it's her.
They all have very specific eyes towards one another. They've got priorities. The manager, on virtue of being the only #woman in the staff, very funny, because you can assume the him she's referring to is meant to be the lobby boy, at least in the, when, everyone's recognizing each other. That would make sense. But I think, he looks scared out of her would be very funny if it was directed at the owner, because earlier he does say, I hope I don't look as afraid as they do.
Yeah, when he's like, I hope I don't look as frightened as the others.
Oh boy. And he does anyway. It wasn't worth the effort. Sorry, buddy.
That line is like a direct confirmation that he is afraid as well, because he isn't like, oh, I'm not afraid like they are. He's like, I hope I don't look as scared as them. And you would only say that if you were afraid and hoping not to show it.
He's so obsessed with, like, his decorum, his image.
Yeah.
He needs to appear powerful. He's not insignificant or whatever.
He's, like, not insignificant or whatever.
I don't think he's insignificant, guys. This might be, like, a hot take. I don't think he's insignificant.
I like that he says it and, like, he yells it, and then when he yells it the second time, it's farther away.
No, you aren't! Get back in your cage.
Insert Discord, I am not insignificant.
I'm howling at the moon.
Yeah, do it with the
I need you to overlay this.
Yeah.
Okay, I will, I promise.
I think he is not insignificant.
It's entirely possible that he is not insignificant.
How many times can we keep this bit going? And the manager said, so the manager says checkout time was late. Did she say that anywhere else in the show that you guys can recall?
Oh,
Nar.
Okay. It sounded a little familiar to me, but I could have just been misremembering.
I was thinking of it as just her idly musing, but she's also, like, typically kind of anal about checkout time. Remember Harry Brun?
I remember Harry Brown.
Even if they're not going to check out, it's still her duty to make sure that goes smoothly.
Mm.
So this could be a one-off instance.
Now I know why this is making something raise a flag in my mind. Checkout time was late, but no one checks out. That's the mission statement of the hotel. No one turned away, no one checks out.
Everybody come and get them some, but don't nobody leave.
How is checkout time late if nobody checks out?
Aha!
Checkmate! Ha-ha!
Checkmate! See, my hypothesis... Actually, I'll save that until after.
Oh, you're getting coy on us now.
Oh, you know how coy I am. Something, something, she's so coy. Something, something, whatever. I'm just like this.
Oh, now I just have Apex Predator stuck in my head.
Yeah, you do, buddy!
But no one ever survives their stay in the hotel, so checkout time doesn't matter. She, like, follows it up with that. And the lobby boy's continuing refrain of, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
Sounds like me having a nervous breakdown.
It literally... because I think he is having one.
Very realistic nervous breakdown.
I like that lobby boy trillions of him because it kind of harkens over to season 3 where we're about to see trillions of him filling the rooms.
Small bursts.
The he looks so scared is probably meant to be similar to how, like, it's him could be read about the owner or the lobby boy coming from the manager, but it's probably about the lobby boy because it's coming from the manager. Especially because they're coupled
on the transcript.
Yeah, and the manager saying he looks so scared could be about the owner, but it is followed up by the lobby boy saying, I'm so afraid.
He literally is. I just think it's funny.
Especially if you then take the lobby boy's I'm so afraid as, oh god, why is the owner afraid? That's frightening me.
No! This isn't a horror podcast to me. This is a workplace comedy.
This is a workplace comedy. Echo Box is a really interesting one to re-listen to and just...
because you have the staff there. It's the return of staff episodes. You get their, like, they are put in this place of exclusively terror. Exclusively the united in our understanding terror of where we are, quoting the manager here. They all know what's going down. Something not fun, not good is about to happen to them. And that's just what happens in the hotel. And since they're the only ones in the Echo Box, and it was announced as an Airbnb listing, this is their room.
They check in.
They checked in.
And she did say, the hotel does say in return that she put them in rooms, which that is Echo Box.
It's her hobby.
It's her hobby. This also kind of reminds me a bit of, like, the season 4 finale, the thing where they're stuck in this box and they're kind of not sure what's going on.
Echo Box 2!
Echo Box 2! And the owner knowing something's coming. He's like, it's coming here now. Like, knowing that the hotel is coming. Jay, do you have any thoughts on Echo Box that we haven't already covered?
I can't remember any coherent ones. This is an episode that does things to my brain and I just sit there and let it wash over me because it's a lot.
It's a lot. I like the thunder going on. The honey, you got a big storm coming. She's doing it again, like she did in 412 with the weather.
Doing it again, Mom!
Thank you for your love. Thank you for the heart. There'll never be a lonely night again.
Try getting a reservation at Dorsia now, you fucking stupid bastard!
And leave that in. Okay. Patrick, thanks so much for looking after Courtney. Dorcia, how impressive. How
What?
on earth did you get a reservation there?
What?
What happened?
Nothing.
Oh, I'm gonna find something that I go back to edit, aren't I?
Maybe.
Eventually.
I hate you people. Return! Woohoo! They call it return because I just got back.
Hey!
Hey! Ooh! I should probably look at the transcript too.
Yeah.
This is an
I
episode
like
you
that
need, like, tabs to digest.
I like that we get the interiority of the hotel here. That's a fun thing to say. Interiority of the hotel.
Interiority! Haha,
That's just-
I get it!
That's just what the rooms are.
That's what
But
the rooms are.
this is like the first look we get at what's going on inside the hotel's head, what she's like thinking about. And it's a little inscrutable at first, but on, reading the transcript and listening to it over again, we get a sense of her and what she wants. She's bored. She's this huge extra-dimensional being who experiences time on a different scale from the rest of us, and she's bored out of her gourd, and she wants something to pass the time. And all this stuff that she's doing is just experimenting, seeing what's up. What's life and death? How do they work? And death apparently really captures her imagination.
Time and space are utterly, like, inconsequential to her. What does matter is having a good time. That's really important to me in a fictional character. That's kind of why I like her so much.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of her wording in this episode really fascinates me. There are implications there that I would not have otherwise considered. This episode really draws, it really begs the question, what even is she?
Yeah. I think, is this the first time we get an inkling that she is more than just a hotel?
Yeah.
Slightly.
For sure. She's like Airbnbs, which are different from a hotel, but she still calls
Close
them
enough to a hotel.
Close enough to a hotel. But, she eats a planet.
She was hungry, you can't really fault her.
You're right.
When you're, super bored and all you do is stare at the fridge?
That's her.
Exact same thing.
She keeps opening the universe's door, looking in, closing it, and opening it again, as if hoping there's going to be something new in there, and there never is. There's the discussion she has around all this as well, with the eating the planet as well, is she's talking about, well, I didn't learn anything, there's this want to know something about something. She wants to know. She has a curiosity and a hunger for knowledge, and she is destroying stuff to satiate it, and it's not enough. She's not learning anything new, which I think is very fascinating in a character who is a hotel.
It also gives us this look into, when she says, I swallow this planet, I barely notice it. Her, the sense of morality is, non-existent. She doesn't pine for the beings on that planet. She doesn't really care. It doesn't really affect her.
Don't tell us you never did this.
Don't tell us you've never done this. And she doesn't really care about anybody else's feelings overly much. They're not really that important, I don't think.
It's she accumulates knowledge by consuming it. And
Yeah.
there was nothing there that she didn't already know. That's just how long she's been around. And a part of me reads this episode as somewhat mournful.
Yeah.
But probably because the first time I ever listened to it, I went in with the context of my own OC and not the show itself. And a part of that is going to be lodged in there permanently. But
I think she does sound sad.
She sounds
is
a
the
little bit
thing.
disappointed.
Especially compared to how she is in season 4, and this is as the character develops, of course they're going to sound different, but the way she sounds in this episode is she's bored, she's sad, she's disappointed, honestly. There's a kind of wistful, remember when things were so great and then it all went wrong. And something that she doesn't do in season 4 is take responsibility for anything. It's always the guest reacted to her wrong.
I don't think she should.
Yeah, I don't think she should. Her staff did it wrong. Everybody else is doing it wrong, and she's the only one doing things right. But she almost expresses a hint of, I kind of fucked that up, didn't I? I pulled a string and my entire house unraveled. She doesn't directly say, I ruined it, but she says, oh, well, cause and effect.
That
Isn't it
read
such a shame?
to me, interestingly enough, that read to me as a completely neutral, cause and effect thing. Oh, so that's what happens. kind of shit. Like, I joke about old Cartoon Network live show, dude, what would happen a lot when it comes to her, but that's just generally how I read a lot of her lines.
Dude, what would happen if I turned a guy into a tree?
So that's what that does. Okay.
She can do whatever, and she will do whatever. Love her.
She's got time. She'll get to it.
She's got all the time. That's like a direct quote, and I realized that a little too late. I'm sorry. I remember everything she's ever said.
There's something of Annihilation in this too, or something that's pinging Annihilation for me.
I just watched that movie.
Yeah, no, that's because I've seen it so recently.
Yeah.
It's pinging that. Like
Getting Annihilation vibes from this, says man who just watched Annihilation.
Well, let me explain the connection.
Okay,
maybe.
Go ahead.
When she talks about like the scintillating landscape, the way when she does this, the colors explode. I don't know if she says colors specifically, but that's yeah. She filled with rooms and color. Every time we put out those lights, the landscape changed with screaming scintillance, and the kind of ambient sounds that the soundtrack is made up of put me very much in mind of like in the final scenes of Annihilation when they encounter the alien whatever it is. When I picture the Doppelganger, when I picture this episode, even before I'd seen Annihilation, I was just kind of seeing colors drifting across an endless skyscape and meeting and exploding in various hues. I don't know if that was the same for y'all. Do you have mental images for this, or is it just sort of
I've got them, but I couldn't describe them to you if I tried. It's like, remember when I was doing like song color palettes and I wanted to do enlacing, but I couldn't because it was made of colors that didn't exist?
Mhm.
That's what Return is like for me. It's like that mixed with the part in End of Evangelion where it's just a bunch of like clips of the real world overlaid on the characters talking, except in like little like bubbles occasionally floating past. It's just these random ass snapshots of average human life over a background of like constantly shifting distant color, like space photography.
Yeah, I think it is really interesting to ask people, what are you picturing when you listen to this podcast? Because there aren't visuals to go along with it. I think frequently the answer is like nothing, because maybe not everybody is actively imagining something. I know I don't always have a visual in mind for like podcasts and
That's
stuff.
you.
That's me. I don't know everybody's situation for sure. So I think it's interesting to just ask you guys, like, what are you picturing for this?
Yeah, I think Return was very much like abstract colors in that very reminiscent of Annihilation's way of dealing with them, for sure, for me. Purely because that is something that when I imagine, in general, when I think about anything to do with a cosmic extra dimensional thing, that tends to put me in mind of that. But I think when I think about the hotel in this scene in Return, I think of her as like a black hole in the center of it.
Yeah.
So there are stars and
One
color and
vaguely
galaxies
shaped
all
like a
around.
woman.
Yeah, and then just like this black void that is slowly pulling in these colors, and they're swirling
this, like,
around.
Hole of non-existence.
Yeah,
And
there's nothing.
only visible by virtue of how everything around it exists, but it. Like how, like pictures of a black hole, like exactly like you said.
Yeah, defined only by the destruction around her, sort of thing.
Size. I like her. You guys think I might like her?
I think you might enjoy her a non-zero.
I think I might like the hotel.
Oh, right, yes, because that's the name. Yes, yes.
That's the name of the show, guys! Clap!
Roll credits. And then, when she's like, oh, I learned nothing from their deaths. I barely notice it. Something else does. Something deep within. And the hotel theme kicks in.
And it gets insanely...
And it gets insanely cool. And she's like, oh, they couldn't be put out. Hey, they're still in there. And she's like, they're taking those lights and turning them in godly tapestries. Wait a minute, something interesting is happening. Hold on, let me key in on this. And then, stepping out of the darkness, the hotel shivers, and I'm me again.
You like that line a lot.
I like that. I especially like that line because now that I'm like looking specifically for it, I did see that the first thing the owner says in the show is stepping out of the darkness. So the repetition of the lines again is very nice. I like the little callbacks. The callbacks are a lot of fun.
Callbacks in this show. all of her, like, wording in this episode is so poetic, too. Which, I like that. I love my poetry. And I think the wording of there were others with her, specifically, is interesting. And even if they are the lights she talks about later on, implied to be humanity, or something separate, but similar enough to it that people did not notice the filtering in of these beasts. The wording of others with her is strange to me, considering the way she talks about the staff.
Yeah.
What
Are
was the
there more?
relationship there?
She does say disconnected from one another, but each one cut from the same mold, talking about, I think that's the staff, in the sense of, like, yeah, I've made them separate beings from each other, but they have the same origin. They come from me. If you boil them down, you'd find the same thing.
Together they sought insight. Together! Together!
Together.
You don't think of her as something capable of... She feels detached from everything else. Some, like, ambivalent overseer of everything going on, here to do mad scientist things. Because that is low-key what she is.
Yeah, she's a mad scientist.
A really fun one, though.
She's not a mad scientist, she's just a disappointed scientist.
Good one, it's a good one.
Thank you. Funny? Laughed?
Did you hear me?
A little bit.
Yay.
And the things specifically that the staff say when they come back, I think, maybe I read too much into, because I love to read too much into things, but they feel very emblematic of them as beings. Like, these are kind of their core things. The lobby boy is terrified. The lobby boy, interestingly enough, can kind of see past all this. He's not looking at the hotel. He's not so much going... Well, I mean, he is, but he's not in the same way the manager is like, I'm back at my desk, this is where I need to be, we're going to be checking in guests forever, hoorah. The lobby boy's like, oh god, I can hear the universe screaming, oh, she's going to be here with us, I wish we were alone, but we can't be ever again, and all this. He's continuing his breakdown. Breakdown part 2.
Sometimes.
You can see her sometimes. And the owner is like,
Not in her
ah,
totality.
yeah. I'm me again. I'm still the owner. I answer to a higher power. I'm gonna have to take a hands-on approach with the guests. Keep that fucking lobby boy away from me.
Part of his core personality. How much he hates that little thing beast, that creature.
Keep that freak away from me.
Put that freak on a leash.
My god, woman.
She likes him too much. He's her little purse dog.
He's like one of those pugs that they've bred to have no, like, nose.
He's
and
a show
like,
Persian.
He's a show Persian. And the other's like, for fuck's sake. What is that?
Put that away.
I like that in the transcript when the lobby boy said she's always been here. First of all, I thought all three of them were saying it in unison because of the distortion, but no, it's just the lobby boy. That's okay.
He knows.
But it's red and bold, and I want to know what that means. Like the hotel is purple because it's a House of Leaves shout out. But what does it mean that it's red and bold?
And steadily increasing in size. I just noticed that it's steadily increasing in size.
Huh.
Oh god, I'm staring at the transcript, and for a moment I had like a horrific fear that the words were growing on the page and were going to jump out of the screen at me.
Like in 1770, 76.
Sure. I don't know why I was suddenly struck by that, but yeah, the font size is increasing. I wish you had said the font size was increasing. I have a very active imagination. I haven't been sleeping well. Yeah, they're getting larger.
I was gonna say, I put down in my notes, there has to be, like, at least a little significance to the lobby boy being the one to drop that she's always been here. Because, what I said was it's something you'd expect out of the owner, lore-wise, because he's the one who has direct contact with the hotel herself, but the lobby boy is the one with, like, the closest relation to her power-wise, on a power scale. It reminds me of, like, creepy children in horror movies with, like, prophetic abilities. Like,
yeah.
This guy sees dead people.
This guy straight up sees dead people.
He literally sees dead people. It's his job. I like this episode a lot. Can you tell?
I like this episode a lot because I've said it before and I'll say it again.
Stepping out of the darkness.
Stepping out of the darkness. I love when a character has, like, such an intense sense of self that they can't be snubbed out by their own creator. And I typically like that in like a meta sense. Like the writer of the whatever it is can't get rid of them. But like here it also works with just like these are beings that she's created. They're duck decoys, and now they're acting like actual ducks. And she tried to like throw them out, and they just came back.
They're like quacking and shit and eating peas.
They're like quacking and eating peas. They don't have digestive tracts. Where are the peas going?
Back into the void.
This was the episode that made me go like, okay, so I'm going to listen to the show until the heat death of the universe.
Oh my god, just like the manager.
Just like the manager. Really good season finale because it both, I think, wraps up the arc that's been established through season 2 while also leaving you wanting more. So it's not unsatisfying, but you are like, I need to know what happens next. It's like, here's the conclusion to all this stuff. And we're just gonna, there's a breadcrumb trail. Ready to follow it? Yes, I am. Thank you.
It really draws you in. Since it's the first hotel narrated episode, and you're realizing who the narrator of season 2 has been throughout the entire season, and you've been with the lobby boy, the manager, and the owner the whole series so far, but you've never seen her, you've never heard from her. And getting an entire episode that's just her, like, waxing poetic, it really, like, makes you want more, because she has such a distinct, like, vibe from the rest of the staff. You want to know what's going on there.
Oh, you started to say a theory, and then you said you were going to wait till we were done. Do you recall it? And Jay, do you also recall yours?
I have mine written down.
Oh, yes, you do. Wonderful. Okay, overarching theories about season 2. Begin.
Season 2. Wahoo! I wanted to bring up the urban legend aspect. Feels like good hometown horror. Feels like shit you'd hear, like, passed between person to person, and, like, devolve as time goes on. I was really obsessed with urban legends as a kid. I browsed Snopes a lot. I have a bunch of books that are, like, compilations of urban legends from around the world. I have a lot of books that are just the urban legends of specific states. So that stuff fascinated me. Stuff like, not like cryptids in particular, but stuff like, the Neiman Marcus cookie recipe, microwaving hamsters, the drag queens who lived in the swamps, Mandor Handhook car door. All of that was really fascinating to me, and to hear this brought back in audio drama format in season 2 was exhilarating, because I haven't, like, participated in that shit for several years, but it's still one of my favorite things ever. And getting to experience that again in a show that I love so dearly is really good for me. And, Jay, I believe your theory could tie into this somewhat.
Yeah, actually it does. Because mine was very much, thinking about urban legends and stuff, that would make sense. Mine was building off the idea that if all these places do exist in the real world and the hotel just is laid over them and inhabiting them to make them the hotel version in which they're going to kill people via the hands of the staff. Potentially all these things she tells us at the start, like, like the burger baby died here, the last people who stayed here were, like, killed by a man at the end of his rope. If all of that isn't the hotel's doing, and that is something that happened in these actual places, in the non-hotel versions of the locations, and my theory was thinking about maybe she's pulling from things that have already happened here. Things that these places are known for, an urban legend about these places.
She'd be a great DM.
Because I can string bullshit from nothing.
Oh, I do like that, though. I think you wrote down a little bit of this, and I said hotel plagiarism out loud, but I do like the idea that, like, yeah, with the worlds she's investigating and trying to figure stuff out about, she's hearing these stories somehow. And she's going like, well, that would be fun. What would that look like if that were real? And then she's doing it.
It's her natural curiosity, and then she puts a little spin on it, because she's her.
Yeah, like, imagine if Miss Bones, there's a skeleton buried under there.
There's a skeleton.
Like, imagine... And she's just pulling from this, like, on the street, people talk about this, they go, you know, someone is under there, there's bones still under there, and Madame Hotel goes, well, that's a little fun. What if we did that?
And
okay.
That's a really common urban legend, too. Like, there's bones in the foundation of, like, this bridge or this building.
Yeah.
There's bones in there because a worker died, and they just left the bones in.
They just put them in.
in like English folklore, I think, where they would I've at least read this story somewhere where they would like literally kill someone to put in the foundation, like on purpose because that made it stronger or something. Like their spirit was helping hold the building up.
Yeah, that like pervasive legend of like places where they're like, yeah, they just put a guy in there so he's in the walls and he haunts it now because, I don't know, whatever reason they want to make up why someone would do that. It varies from story to story.
Sometimes it's just fun.
Sometimes
It's fun.
Sometimes you just put a guy in a building. Put that beast in a situation.
I told
Hotel.
She loves putting
Jess
beasts in
to get in the wall when he
situations.
did. The absolute
Season 2
man.
was just put that beast in a situation ad infinitum.
Yeah.
And that fascinates me, because part of me was thinking, with how uncomfortable the manager, all uncomfortable these positions have to be for her, how none of these end well for anyone involved. The lobby boy isn't having the greatest time as a frozen figure, and he's like, oh, Robert's fucking pissed as Cracker Man. And Mrs. Bones and Burger Baby are essentially manager torture. Something in me is like, I know season 3 is them getting repeatedly murdered, but if we're going off of how season 1's rooms were personalized to each guest and season 2 like immediately followed season 1, in a way, these are their rooms.
Yeah.
The insatiable thirst, the insatiable hunger, the being surrounded by people but being isolated from them.
Yeah. He's a tree.
He's a tree. He can't perch anywhere.
Oh no! He is the perch.
He is the perch, and there are going to be pigeons pooping on him or whatever.
No!
He has dignity.
Not here, he doesn't.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't.
I need to know what's up with the timeline. I feel like my understanding of it, just from what we've been told, is like, so season 2, Echo Box, all of season 4, Return, season 3, season 5? But this is like putting in linear time what is not
You
even
think
slightly
that applies.
a linear. Right. Like, all of this is happening at the same time and also at different times and also not happening, but it is.
It could hypothetically happen, but it is happening. But it's also like not happening anywhere, but it's happening in several different copies of all of these rooms. But it's still, it could happen in the future, if the future's a thing. It might not be.
All of it happened in this room, but also it's probably the first time anyone's ever been in this room. So where does that leave us? It fascinates me.
The way I conceptualize time with regard to this show is very heavily based on Awful Hospital.
Can you explain for our I was about to say for our listeners. Do we have listeners?
We have listeners.
We have listeners. Can you explain for our listeners who do not read Awful Hospital? Can you give a little bit?
I would love to. Awful
Excellent.
Hospital is the foundation for a lot of my meta related to the hotel, actually. It is a webcomic by Bogleach about a woman named Fern who wakes up in a hospital referred to solely as the hospital, where all of the patients she's surrounded by are like different organs, and all the doctors are like different medical tools, except for like fucking Dr. Phage, who's a T4 bacteriophage. There's a lot of interesting layers to Awful Hospital's meta. Like, the hospital is the ideal concept of a hospital. No hospital on our Earth would exist without the hospital being there, being what it is. It is the place where you come to get healed. And all of the doctors there, if they didn't exist, none of their respective fields would exist. And time there is measured in layers. Linear time is not a thing in the hospital. Different layers are all exactly what it sounds like. Layers. They can, exist at the same time. They can be spread out all across the place. You can, hop between them, hypothetically. It's a very fascinating thing. There's just this infinity of moment after moment after moment that you can freely hop between. Everything's happening all at once. Sometimes things just don't, except when they do. So linear time not existing, instead each layer being something put on a table, put on top of each other, able to be phased through, moved around, shuffled, jumped between, happening simultaneously, is how my brain works with regard to this, as well as in regards to conceptualizing the staff, because, like it's been said, the hotel only lets you see what she wants you to see, and in Awful Hospital, everyone has their own different perception of what everything looks like. Some people can see things as they truly are. Others are just incapable of perceiving certain things because their brains won't register them as existing. They can't comprehend it. Sometimes people will see things as entirely different things because that's what their brain is familiar with, so it assumes a more comfortable form in their mind's eye. And that's how I think of the staff, until they start to rot, per se. And I like to bring up Robert Watson with this, because the staff saw themselves as not rotting until the party, where everyone, lend a hand. But Robert Watson, upon entry, immediately saw past the veneer. And that's because their conceptualization of what they were was on vastly different levels. Being able to see them for what they really are was just due to his existence on a separate, layer of that reality. So yeah, I might think about this show a lot.
I like
this
season
being Fast
2.
and Loose. Season 2 was strong. We like the hotel.
We like the hotel.
We like the hotel.
Unless anybody has any other thoughts, because I don't want to cut us off here, I think we may be done with this episode. Okay.
Well, we do have one last thing to say.
Oh, sorry. Yes, what's up?
He's under the mat.
He is under the mat.
He is under the mat.